Just a few miles outside the city of Detroit is a county where people are working to mobilize the state of Michigan to protect kids from marijuana.
I think that with the medical marijuana in Michigan, kids think that it's safer, so they'll use it more. They think since the term medical is in it and that some doctors will suggest medical marijuana, they look away from the negative aspects of marijuana and they just think that it's safe to use.
Kids will talk about it in the hallways, it's so much easier to get on the streets, and then they bring it into the school and it causes nothing but problems.
We can see the trends that are happening, and when kids think that marijuana or any drug is not that harmful, their use goes up. So when they perceive the risk is going down, their use increases. And we see this happening, and we're trying to get the message out there to stop that trend.
But the people pushing for more relaxed marijuana laws in Michigan were dominating the conversation.
We were increasingly concerned about what was going on with kids, and we were increasingly concerned about the pro-marijuana messages in the media. And we saw no counter voice. We heard no other messages.
So they decided to speak up with a goal of protecting kids. The coalitions in Macomb County began working on ways to help people understand marijuana's harmful side.
We wanted to interject into the public dialogue the issues of marijuana and kids, with the idea that people are talking about marijuana, they're talking about medicinal marijuana, they're talking about every aspect of marijuana, but what it's really going to do to our kids, and actually what it's really going to do to our communities. We need instead to focus on the research that across the board informs that there are brain effects to youth marijuana use, there are academic effects, there are physiological, social, behavioral effects to marijuana use. So focusing on the research, I think, is really the important message. The research is indisputable.
The 12 coalitions in the county needed an adaptable way to get their message out. They settled on the idea of building a toolkit.
We wanted something that was easy to use and would work for any coalition, no matter what their capacity is, if they're a large coalition or a small coalition, and we would give them instruments to use so they don't have to do the research themselves.
The toolkit is online and everything can be downloaded. There are fact sheets, PowerPoints, items to tweet and post, posters, and more.
It's a multi-component toolkit that targets all sectors. There are parts of the toolkit that address parents very directly. There's another that addresses teachers and youth. There is a piece on conducting a town hall meeting. There's another aspect of the toolkit that prepares coalition members to speak with their legislators. So what we hope to do, and we hope we have done, is to create information that is usable across the sectors.
Teachers can also use the curriculum designed for health classes.
There's a couple of main messages actually, but we kind of start out talking about myths. We talk about what are the common misconceptions out there about marijuana and how scientific evidence actually doesn't support the myth. The other piece is more talking about how there's the different developmental stages for a young person's brain, and how at this stage that they're in right now in the 9th grade or whatever, your brain is so susceptible to addiction, to damage, to disruptions, and you only get one brain.
Coalitions and their partners can use whatever they want from the toolkit and adapt it to meet their needs.
Anybody can use the kit the way it's designed for law enforcement, for schools, for communities. It's all right there to get out the information that's needed.
Because the coalition is so diverse and people play different roles in our schools, what they see as their job is to make sure that what is in the kit becomes part of our culture of our schools.
Shortly after the toolkit debuted online in April 2013, the creating coalitions found out there was a much greater need for it than they initially thought.
We originally began in this area to deal with our own community, and very quickly realized that that was not logical. that if we didn't begin to partner with coalitions outside of our area, indeed across the state, that we would really lessen our impact. The ultimate goal is to join with others to be that other voice. We realize that one coalition in Macomb County, Michigan is not going to defeat the very strong pro-marijuana forces. What we do understand, though, is joining together with other coalitions, other agencies, that we can join hands and we can create that counter voice.
Implementation of the toolkit has not come without some resistance.
We have had some pushback. It's actually helpful to us because when we get pushback from pro-marijuana, it allows us to again reorganize the message and to send it out.
Coalition volunteers are constantly updating and expanding the toolkit's offerings.
It's going to be obsolete quickly, some of our research, and we're going to have to continually be on top of updating it and giving people the newest versions of things. As we find out more about what this does to your body and your brain and your organs, we're going to have to be on top of that.
Coalitions need to keep their goal of protecting kids in mind, no matter what challenges or opposition they face.
I urge coalitions to step forward and to take the step in hand with other coalitions to address the issue of youth marijuana. We cannot be paralyzed by the pro-marijuana forces. We have to mobilize and move, and paralysis is best addressed by action.